Hi, I'm Steve, the introverted traveler. I've made it my mission in life to explore the beaches, deserts, mountains, and even cityscapes around us, and to do so while avoiding contact with as many people as possible. And although I will never hang out with you for any reason, I do invite you to join me on my journey. Come and see the world through the eyes of an extreme introvert. On this edition, we are back in the Mount Hood wilderness, near Rhododendron, Oregon, and on the trail to Ramona Falls. Along the way, we will cross dangerous rivers, walk through beautiful forests, encounter the Pacific Crest Trail, encounter the Timberline Trail, and watch as search and rescue practices for the upcoming trail runners are unprepared idiots and have gotten in trouble on the trail again summer season. All this and much more on this Introverted Travels. Greetings, and I'm back yet again on yet another adventure. And today, well, this may come as a complete and total shocking surprise to everybody, but I'm in the middle of nowhere once again. And not only am I in the middle of nowhere, but it is one of those rare days here in April in which the Pacific Northwest is actually allowing spring to occur. Of course, this may not hold. I mean, literally, this is spring in the Pacific Northwest, and it can change its mind at any given point. One day it will be clear and beautiful and bright and sunny, and then the next day it will be icy death. So, fortunately for me, on my Sunday hike day, I drew the clear and bright and warm and sunny card, and not the you're gonna die by icicles card, which is what I usually draw. Today, I am out in the beautiful, wonderful, less than an hour from my house, Mount Hood wilderness, on my way to something called Ramona Falls. When I got to the trailhead, just take a guess. You've probably seen a couple of my videos, or at least a couple of my short videos on Instagram or what have you, and so you probably know exactly what I'm going to say, but take a guess. What do you think I saw at the trailhead? I saw like 40 cars. And if you do the introverted math on 40 cars, that's 40 times the potential of at least 4 people per car. And the answer to that equation is too many freaking people. Hell, awful, chaos, destruction. That's literally the answer. It's not numerical at that point. It just becomes that big long sentence that I gave you. In other words, it's going to be another one of those videos. There's at least infinity amount of people out here, and thus the potential for infinity amount of misery. Now, according to all trails, this is about a 7-mile hike, and that is actually confirmed by the signs at the trailhead that say it's about 3.5 miles to Ramona Falls and then 3.5 miles back. So maybe, just maybe, one of the engineers or coders at All Trails actually came out here and read the damn sign and got it right for a change. But that does not change the fact that take your shot, fill out your bingo card, and just play along with me in general. All Trails sucks. But that's All Trails. There was one more notable thing that I have to mention here in the introduction section that goes a little bit against format. But in about a mile, it's literally about a mile or so from the trailhead, there was a creek crossing. Now, it's not just a creek, it's the Sandy River. Now, luckily, the Sandy River is fed by the glacial melt off of Mount Hood, and that doesn't really get roaring until somewhere around July or August, whenever the planet gets close enough to the sun that the mountain finally goes, okay, I'm warm, here's some water. But there is absolutely no bridge or any way to cross this aside from downed logs. So the way I usually cross rivers is I just dive my gigantic naked Bigfoot ass in and just crawl across the water. However, this is the Sandy River, so it may be just a little bit too intense for that, but there are logs. There are narrow, tiny, very apparently wet, if I believe in the All Trails comments, logs that go right across this creek crossing. And in theory, a human being can just step on the log and tiptoe across. However, everybody that does that I've seen, because I've watched YouTube videos of people doing that, they're all like 5 foot nothing. I'm not 5 foot nothing. I'm 6'3". And when you're 6'3", your equilibrium, well, basically when I look down at my feet, I feel like James Stewart in that Hitchcock movie, Vertigo. I mean, literally everything drops around. I start to get dizzy and I'm like, whoa, I'm way up here, man. So when I'm on a log that's slick, no, there's a potential for slipping, there's a potential for falling, and there's a potential for smashing my head on the rocks below and having part of my brain just flow into the river along with my blood. And then of course that attracts the Mount Hood walruses that I've talked about in previous videos. They come out, they're like, and they'll eat me. So basically what I'm saying is there's a creek cross in which I could slip, fall, bang my head, and then get eaten by walruses that I made up. I mean, fatalities by mythical creatures out here in the Pacific Northwest, that's a thing. What's gonna have to happen is I am probably gonna have to deploy a technique called, wait for it, the sit and scoot. And it is actually as ridiculous as it sounds. I'm literally gonna have to get on my butt and do what my dog can do on the carpet and just go scoot, 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 scoot. And that's a technique that works. I mean, basically it's anything that works out here. It's either death or look like an idiot. And frankly, I'm so used to looking like an idiot, I just choose the idiot part. I think that's enough for this introduction section. I think this introduction section has reached the critical value of ridiculousness. And I think we've said it all. And I think it's time for me to move on up the trail, and hopefully I won't get dead. Well, this is disappointing. I'm at the Sandy River crossing. The Sandy River is literally right there. And I was promised logs. I was promised huge, glorious logs that I could scoot across, or technically walk if I was crazy enough to do that. But apparently nature didn't get that memo, because this is what it gave me today. And look at this. It gave me an uprooted tree that if I even tried to get up, I couldn't even get up that. My hip would pop, my vertebrae would snap, and I'd be leaking out things that I really shouldn't be leaking out. But that is not fit for a middle-aged man. I think there's a log down there somewhere, but then I have to actually crawl over rocks and dirt. I might get dirty. No, I don't want that. So I'm horribly disappointed. This is the log I'm supposed to cross. I guess, I don't know. There's a whole bunch of down logs here, but in reality, what I'm gonna do, and I'm taking you with me as I walk here, so what I'm gonna end up doing is what I always do, which no other hikers seem to ever want to do, but I'm gonna inconvenience myself with wet shoes. I mean, that's literally, instead of falling on my ass, instead of breaking my hip trying to get up on a giant log, instead of slipping and hitting my head in a rock and bleeding out into the river, I'm gonna get my feet wet. Just a little bit, just a tiny bit of moisture on my feet, and then I'll be done. This rant can be concluded if I stick my feet in the water and walk over the river, and I'm gonna do that in just a second. But I would like to note that, because a lot of people are scared of this part, because I mean, you're crossing a river, and as I said, when the volcano sickle melts, this is actually probably a formidable river. But right now, again, it's a trickle. So, okay, I'm gonna cut this short because I see other people, and frankly, I'd rather drown in the trickle than talk to or see other people. But I will mention that if I do drown and I'm gasping my last gasps, at least I'll have beautiful views. That's a volcano. All right, so I should note Then unfortunately, I wasn't able to film the entire crossing because that water was actually going pretty fast. It was absolutely freezing. And I had to use my selfie stick as a pole. Ironically, of course, I have actual poles, but that's how to forge a river, apparently. That's actually not how to forge a river. That's how an idiot forges a river, but I'm an idiot, and I just forged the river. So, yeah, I'll see if I can get a better video on the way back. Maybe I'll actually do it properly with poles and the headgear and all that, but yeah, that's what everybody's scared of. Now, I could have inconvenienced myself by putting myself in the traction by climbing over a log, but I just dived in. But guess what that means? Squish, 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 squish. Well, you had to know that this was coming. Guess what we are? We have hit our wonderful, beautiful Pacific Crest Trail. Number 2000. You know, I still haven't figured out why trails are numbered or exactly what that system is. I actually emailed the Forest Service at one time and said, hey, I'm a content creator. I'm trying to make a video about how trails are numbered, why they're numbered, what that means and all that stuff. Crickets. Even federal employees who are paid to deal with the annoying, obnoxious public, they don't even want to deal with how annoying and obnoxious I am. Apparently. I mean, I hope that there are a few Forest Service employees that actually watch my videos when they're supposed to be working and, you know, putting out forest fires and wrestling bears or whatever the hell park rangers do. So maybe, just maybe, somebody will send me an email and will say, hey, here's how they're classified. Here's what these numbers mean. But until then, we're just going to assume that Pacific Crest Trail number 2000, it's like a sequel to Pacific Crest Trail 1, but it's like a futuristic sequel set like 2,000 years ahead in the future. And then the Pacific Crest Trail is like full of technology. That's an absolute idiotic rant, but hey, I'm just out here making stuff up because nobody will tell me what the number system means. What does number 2000 mean? What does it mean, Forest Service? What does it mean? Aside from that stupidity, the Pacific Crest Trail crosses right here. And I believe that later on we're actually going to be walking on part of it. And we're going to be walking on part of the Timberline Trail, which is a trail that goes all the way around Mount Hood. So yeah, a bunch of trails out here that I know of. So I'm not really lost. As I said many, many times on the Pacific Crest Trail, Canada's that way. I'd like to thank the Pacific Northwest for actually having a bright sunny day, and I'd also like to thank the Portland metro area for just opening up your floodgates and letting every bearded, strange, toque-wearing weirdo within a 50-mile radius to come just opening the gates and letting them come all out here in the forest, because they're all out here in the forest. I literally just saw what I can describe as a herd. And of course, being a horde of human beings in the middle of nowhere, talk, mundane life. Oh, I'm very important. I'm gonna ruin your solitude so you can listen to me talk. Oh, look, if you are not talking directly to an invisible audience into a GoPro, shh. But not only were they annoying, there was a person with a baby, literally had an infant strapped to his chest. Now, you saw that I just crossed a semi-dangerous, I mean, it wasn't that bad, but I just crossed a huge body of water. I mean, in my mind, I literally just walked across the Mississippi River, but this is not exactly the safest environment. But forget about bad parental decisions for a second. What about just leave no trace? Principle number 7, limit your impact on other people. Since when has bringing an infant into anything limited the impact of anything? I mean, seriously, that thing's like a ticking time bomb. It has a little bit of gas. It's going to go wah, wah, wah. So I'm going to go see a beautiful, stunning waterfall. And I'm going to have to listen to mom and dad's little, oops, the condom broke accident going wah, wah, wah. So far, I am not a happy introvert. One baby is the soul-crushing mind destroyer for the introvert. And there's one up at Ramona Falls, and it's going to be a loud waterfall, and that infant's just going to go off like a time bomb. So this is what I'm doing on Sunday. I got to cross a dangerous, icy creek that I could have drowned in, And that was fine. I didn't mind that. I can do that all day long. But an infant, well, let's just hope I get lucky and volcano erupts and wipes us all out. I mean, that would prevent me from having to deal with the infant, and it's a much more preferred outcome instead of dealing with, wah, I'm at a waterfall, wah. And that's just a noise that's coming from me. Well, now I know I'm in hell. We have trail runners. They're out here too, apparently. I mean, I'm surprised because it's a nice, clear, sunny, beautiful day. Not a snowflake around. Usually trail runners don't come out until it's like 30 below zero and it's just about to blizzard and they can get themselves stuck out in the wilderness so they can get off search and rescue to come for them. I mean, I know I've had diatribes in the past about how trail runners want to eat hikers and knock them out the trail and suck their souls so they can increase their miles from 3-minute miles to 2-minute miles. But I'm beginning to think that it's all just a desperate ploy for attention. Trail runners come out here, they're inept and idiotic, and they forget to bring supplies with them. They get hit some bad weather, and all of a sudden search and rescue has to devote all their resources and all their attentions to find someone's stupid little running ass out in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, so I'm really surprised that the trail runners would come out on a nice day. I thought they only came out when it was about the avalanche. I mean, that's the only time they're going to get attention. I mean, they're going to get some negative attention from me, but if the wind hits me wrong, the wind's going to get negative attention from me. It's not hard to get negative attention from me. I'm a little bit insane. But yeah, there's some asshole with a little running backpack and little short shorts going, I'm running, I'm in the forest, and I'm running. Oh, look, waterfall, I'm running. But yeah, I know that I'm in hell because we now have trail runners. This waterfall better be beautiful. I mean, this waterfall better be freaking Niagara Falls. For all the pain and suffering that I've already endured, I mean, my feet are wet. I went through a tiny little creek. Well, it's that tiny little river that maybe a bigger. I went through water, okay? And I've seen a baby. No, I've seen a bunch of dogs, but I've also seen a whole lot of humans. And now, trail runners. This better be the world's best waterfall. This better be the waterfall to end all waterfalls, because not only are there all sorts of people out here, you know where they're going. They're going to the waterfall. Well, I'm officially confused out here in the middle of the woods. And it doesn't take much. All it takes is a weird trail sign. So, I thought we had crossed the Pacific Crest Trail earlier. I saw the sign. I literally saw the sign. I made the video. Hey, we're crossing the Pacific Crest Trail. Apparently, the Pacific Crest Trail's back. It's a mysterious trail. If you ever look at the Pacific Crest Trail on the map, it does some weird things. It winds strange. It goes through like other dimensions. It comes out of wormholes. I mean, it is really, and I'm not kidding about this, it is an incredibly mythical trail. I mean, it connects Canada to Mexico. It can't be normal. It has to defy the law of physics at least 4 or 5 times in order to do that. So apparently we're back on the Pacific Crest Trail, but if you read this sign, the Timberline Trail is going the same direction, see there, as the Pacific Crest Trail. So is the Timberline Trail right now the same as the Pacific Crest Trail? And then it says the Ramona Falls is this way. So is the Ramona Falls Trail the same as the I don't know. These signs are confusing the hell out of me. And I just saw people like 5 minutes ago, so I was already a little bit frightened for my life and sobbing against a tree trunk. Yeah, I'm just confused. And I'm still trying to figure out why some trails have numbers and others don't. Shh, apparently it's a Forest Service secret. It's a confusing Sunday. I may be on the Timberline Trail. I may be on the Pacific Crest Trail. I may be on the trail to Shangri-La for all I know. It's a coin flip at this point. I do know that the Timberline Lodge is, well, it says it's in that direction, but that direction is off a cliff. But I can tell you, with the number of people that are at the Timberline Lodge, I'd rather walk right off the cliff.
I think it's in that direction.
But yeah, walking off a cliff to avoid the Timberline Lodge, that's preferable. I'm utterly confused.
This sign has me flummoxed.
So I'm just gonna go wander off into the bushes, and I'm pretty sure I'll figure it out from there. But yeah, it's a strange day out here on the way to Ramona Falls. There's babies, there's trail runners.
There's weird quantum physics signs about how one trail is also another trail at the same time unless observed, and then it's only one trail.
I mean, literally, I think there's quantum entanglement in going on out here with the trails. That's how complex this is. We may have to start breaking out actual calculus to figure out this hike. I was partly right. I'm at the waterfall. I'm literally staring at it right now. And don't worry, I'll give you a peek in just a second. But there are, or were, people at it. I got here at a time in which the people were standing there looking at the waterfall, and then they walked away. Now, I'm not sure if there's people that are going to jump out of the bushes right as I get to the waterfall and go, surprise, let's talk, socialize, socialize, socialize. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. But if that does happen, of course, I'll run down the trail screaming. But if it doesn't happen, I might be able to narrate this thing after. I was just going to literally point my selfie stick at the water and go, woo, and then run away. But I might be able to do a little bit better than that. So come on, let's go look at the waterfall. I'm gonna talk you through it. So
now this is the trail, and this trail, it winds down a little bit. It goes through the woods. As you can see, the beautiful woods all around me here. They're green, they're luscious. There's sunshine. Oh, look, there's a tree there that seems to have broken apart. So
there's a little bit of a tree trunk. And yeah, I'll show you the waterfall in just a moment. Just give me 1 second here. I'm going to keep walking. You can watch me walk for a minute.
Apparently, there's a caution rope. I'm not exactly sure what's that about, but I'm pretty sure it's...
well, let's just face it. That's probably the low-rent Forest Service way of idiot-proofing this place.
They want the idiots not to go past the yellow and black rope.
And it's yellow and black and shiny because, well, they're idiots and they'll actually pay attention to it because it's shiny. But yeah, I think it's about time that I turn the camera so you get to see wonderful, beautiful
Ramona Falls. I mean, look at that. It's not my choice of the type of waterfall that I prefer. I mean, I prefer it
if it's like an actual waterfall and it's going like straight down. And
this is like a cheat. It's just a bunch of water falling over rocks.
But it's a lot of water falling over rocks, and it's prettier than anything else we've seen today. So
there you go. There's beautiful, wonderful Ramona Falls.
And I can tell you, just standing in front of it, it's wet, it's cold, and I don't know.
It's water falling over rocks.
I'm not exactly sure what I'm supposed to do with that, so I'm actually about to leave, but I'll give you a few more shots, don't worry. But I don't know, what's more interesting?
The water falling over rocks, the beautiful, wonderful waterfall?
Or the beautiful, wonderful host? Okay, I know the answer to that, so here's your damn waterfall. All right, other people showed up, so I scurried away like a little rodent in the dark. But just so you know,
that's the Ramona Falls Trail. And over there,
that's the Timberline Trail. So the quantum entanglement is starting to untangle. But there's people, so I'm starting to scurry away, and I feel the tears forming, so let's go. Well, despite the fact that we're now getting later and later in the afternoon, the herds are getting bigger and bigger. I'm literally, I think I might be in an introvert standoff with a huge giant horde. No, it goes beyond herd. We're talking about horde level. I mean, if they were locusts, you'd be like, damn. I mean, it's like a biblical plague full of people out here. And the introvert standoff, of course, is when I pause to let them go, and I look back, and they're pausing, and gawking, and staring at moss, and going, hey, look, that's moss, it's so pretty. So I go, and then they catch up to me, and then I stop, and then they stop, and then etc., etc., etc. They're back there. I can feel them. I'm probably going to hear them in about 5 seconds because, as I said, they are a horde. But yeah, I was hoping for a nice quiet walk back to my car. No, and there's more people coming this way. I'm bombarded. Send help, please. Well, I just passed a group of people that were climbing in the trees, swinging on the branches, and trying to take selfies with one another. Yeah, that's a constructive use of the outdoors. That's exactly what you want to do in nature. And not only that, but I can still hear them hooting and hollering through the forest. So they're climbing on the trees, they're swinging around like a bunch of morons, and they're hooting and hollering. Good use of nature, everybody. Good adherence to the principles of leave no trace. I'm sure principle 8 is hang in the trees, shout as loud as you can, and act like a moron. But alas, who cares about their stupidity, because it's going that way, I hope. I'm just about to the river crossing, and so it is about time for me to, well, just about drown, because I'm just about to the river crossing. So we're gonna have to deal with that. My feet are once again gonna get wet. I could slip, I could die, there could be death. Or could be worse, we could go back and talk to the people who were swinging through the trees, but I think I'd rather handle death on the river. So let's go die on the river, and let's hope they go the opposite direction. Let's go. Well, this is a bad omen. Search and rescue just pulled somebody from over there, and now they're taking them over the river. So, well, at least he'll be out here when I start to drown. So, yeah, let's go get this done. Well, that was fun. I just got to watch search and rescue pull a gurney with somebody in it over the river using ropes. Now, I think in this particular case, because the person in the gurney was wearing the same work clothes as everybody else, so I'm thinking it's probably a training exercise. But yeah, they're out here training for future rescues of trail runners. The person who was on the gurney was pretending to be a runner. He didn't look the part. He didn't have the short shorts. He didn't have the little backpack, and he didn't have like the demon horns. But I'm sure he's out there going, "Oh, I'm running. Oops, I slipped. Search and rescue." And then the search and rescue, they're training to come and go, "Oh no, not you again!" And they're pulling the trail runners across the creek using a gurney and a rope. I'm pretty sure that's what's happening out here today. That's what you saw a little earlier on the video. You saw a training, more than likely, a training exercise on how to rescue the idiots that come out here in their little short shorts and their running shoes. And of course, get lost and then cost people money and time because they have to be rescued. Freaking trail runners. All right, so according to wonderful, beautiful, I wish to drown it in the river all trails, I have about 1.25 miles left on this hike, and thus 1.25 miles until I get to the trailhead, until I get to my car, until I get into my car. You know the spiel. I say it every single time. And unfortunately, this trail at the moment is heavy with people. So I'm going to attempt to do this as quickly as I can so I don't have to do like 1,000 takes because of the people. So this is going to be the segment where we do the trail rating. We rate our trails on a scale of 1 to 10. It's an introversion scale, with 1 being the worst possible scenario for an introvert, and that's Disneyland on the 4th of July. And that is the day in which the monorail has gone off the rails. It has plowed through the entire population of Tomorrowland. Things are on fire. People are screaming. Children are screaming. Adults are screaming. There's mascots running with flames, literally melting their faces and bodies. And churros are actually on sale for 50 cents off. It's only $2,500.49. It's not the usual 99 cents. So, you know, there is that discount. But yeah, it's loud, it's noisy, it's awful. It's Disneyland on the 4th of July, and it's introverted hell. Now, contrast that with the 10 on our scale, which is just you alone in the middle of a field in Antarctica. No one around except for your trained, government-created, and genetically modified mutant army of penguins. Now, these penguins, they recognize you as a leader, and so they respect and love you, but any other human, they've been trained to devour. So yeah, you get to keep your solitude, you get to keep your peace, you get to keep love and happiness and joy, because if anybody comes within even like 50 miles of you, the quacking and the sloshing and the chomping begins. So that's what I call introvert heaven. When it's just you and a bunch of rabid human-eating penguins, that's most heaven to me. I don't know about anybody else because most people aren't demented like I am, but yeah, absolutely 100% introvert heaven, and that's a 10 on our scale. So given the fact that I'm trying to do this as fast as possible, this hike, this trail, is a 2. It's not quite Disneyland on the 4th of July, although the rope show with the people, the search and rescue trying to haul the person over the river, that was getting kind of close. But unfortunately, there's people everywhere. It's a nice day, and everyone in Portland decided, you know, wisely that they hate Portland, because who the hell doesn't hate Portland? And they decided to come out into the forest and almost drown in the river. Well, unfortunately, I'm out here in the forest trying to almost drown in the river, and it's awful. So, unfortunately, that's going to bring down the rating quite a bit, and I have to give it a 2. Now, I could say come out here at another time, but this trail is really only available. I mean, some people come out here in the winter, but really only available when the sun is shining, which is, you know, the 3 days out of the year that it does that in the Pacific Northwest. So I don't know if it's ever calm, if it's ever peaceful, and if you're ever free of people. But the way I hiked it today, it's a 2. That leads us, of course, to the misery index, which is on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being total fiction, total pipe dream, no misery whatsoever. And of course, if you've seen me for even 3 seconds, you know that I'm always miserable to one degree or another. There is no time in which I am not miserable. And then of course 5 is the worst misery ever, but I constantly destroy the scale, and today I'm going to destroy it again because you know, I just got to see a rope show with search and rescue when there's people around, and there were quite a bit of them today. 1 gazillion on the misery index. I was incredibly miserable. That's basically what I'm trying to indicate here. And there were pockets of solitude. I did have times in which I was about a 2.5, 3, so on and so forth. And even at the waterfall, I actually got a few minutes of solitude, a few minutes of happiness, and that misery went down. But then the people came again. And it was all out the window. So basically what I'm saying is we got a 2 on the introversion scale, and we got a 1 bazillion, gazillion, whatever the hell I made up, on the misery index, because there's too many damn people out here and it's miserable. But I've been able to make this trail rating without invoking the hordes again. So I'm gonna end it there because I think you get the idea. But yeah, I don't necessarily recommend this hike, although the falls are beautiful. But I can't recommend it because there be people. According to Wonderful, Beautiful, I want to drop it down 1,000 waterfalls and watch it die, all trails. I have a little over half a mile left on this hike, and thus a little over half a mile to the trailhead to my car. Again, you've already heard all this a billion times, so you know that I'm going to get into my car, and you know I'm going to go very, very slowly down the road because it's full of potholes. And I'm going to go home for the week, and I'm going to stay in my house, and I'm not going to talk to anybody because, ew. But that means that we are at the point of the video in which it is time for us to part. But before we do, let's do a quick recap. Today, I did the loop trail up to Ramona Falls. I crossed the Pacific Crest Trail. I crossed the Timberline Trail. I think at one point I was on the Pacific Timberline Crest. I have no idea. It was weird out here. And then, of course, all of that was capped off by watching, I think it was a training exercise. I remember maybe they were actually rescuing somebody. I don't know. Search and rescue was out hauling people over the river. So not only that, there were a lot of people, but what I will tell you is Ramona Falls was indeed beautiful. It was large, and I had a few moments of solitude. I'm grateful for that. The rest of the hike though, but that's okay, because it is time for us to say our goodbyes, and it is time for me to say, as I always do, stay introverted, everyone. And of course I'll see you in the next adventure.